all set or what? Need a minute?
Yeah.
Okay, everybody ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I'm Michael Morrissey, the Norfolk District Attorney, and with me today, standing behind me, some of the most important people in the event you witnessed over the last few weeks and couple of years. I have members of the Cohasset State Police as well as my trial team are with me today. Did an outstanding job. I would be remiss if I didn't thank the jury. This is a very difficult case from the beginning. Take time out of their schedule to hear such days of evidence, complex evidence, and a difficult case, and to come up with the decision they did. Without the jurors, our system doesn't work, and my heartfelt thanks to each and every one of those who participated and the alternates who were chosen as well. I'd like to thank the Cohasset Police, the State Police, the Medical Examiner's Office, and the Crime Lab for their hard work. It was an incredible effort. If you think about what you saw during the trial, there was all sorts of forensic evidence. They left no stone unturned. They viewed 60 witnesses, almost 60 witnesses testified at trial, and they interviewed even more people. So while you saw a good part of what we had, it was only a small fraction of the time and effort that they put in to get that evidence. And they went to dumpsters, to landfills, to dumps as well, to transfer stations, department stores, lumber stores, CVS, just to gather all this evidence, which was critical in this case. And that effort should not be forgotten, and how hard it was. For without those tools and the evidence that they provided us, that the trial team, which I had the utmost confidence, very competent, professional people, long-term prosecutors in the office, had great tools to work with, but they also great people in their own right. And they put on a very, very great case in a difficult setting. Now, we've seen other cases where we've not had a body, but this is the first one I can remember we've had a first-degree conviction, and I just wanted to thank them profusely. I know that a number of them passed up vacations, work holidays, and they know what's expected of them. We took the job to speak for victims, and they did one heck of a job speaking for Anna's family. And I just wanted to also to say we did hear from Anna's sister, and her comment was, justice has been served, and we agree wholeheartedly with her comments as well. But they never lost sight of that, and I'd like to just personally thank Greg Connor, Tracy Cusack, Ian Yaz, and we have the Cohasset Police, Harrison, and the State Police, and the head of my victim services, Kristen Collins. Also Laura McLaughlin, who's not here. She did a lot of the early work in the case, and so we had a great team, and I just wanted to profusely thank them. It's been a great day for us in the office. I'd ask Greg if he wants to say a word or two. Greg Connor.
Thank you, Michael. It was a great honor to work with Tracy and Ann on this trial, two of the finest lawyers I've ever got to know, and also to go against Kelly and Larry, who are extremely good lawyers. But I want to say thank you to our law enforcement partners, but in particular, one person who worked on this case day after day from the beginning was Sergeant Harrison Schmidt. When Cohasset lost one of their own, they stopped everything and tried to find this woman, and one person never gave up on that case, and it would be Sergeant Harrison Schmidt. Thank you very much.
Harrison is here today, so thank you, Harrison. So I just want to end and close by, let's not lose sight of the fact that Anna's 3 young children will be without a mother, and especially at this time, difficult time of year, and hopefully going in the future, that we all wish them a bright future going ahead. But let's remember in a special way the loss they suffered, and thank you all for coming.
What will happen with the children?
I am not going to answer any questions of that. That's for another.
Any more reaction from her mother or her family?
We just heard from the sister. That was the only, so I passed that on. We heard that, they called, and I passed that on to you.
Will they be making impact statements?
The judge, they're working with the trial team to schedule impact statements. I can't tell you in what form they're going to come in, but the opportunity has been extended, and I expect we will hear something, and they're working on that now.
What do you think actually
for sentencing?
Excuse me?
For sentencing?
Well, there's a mandatory sentence of life, so, but there are other issues. They also developed other charges, as many of you have now heard, that there was a plea earlier to other charges, so that's being worked on. So you'll hear from the lawyers at the time of sentencing.
What do you think
actually win after the
What do you think
trial?
actually brought this to guilty? You have no body, circumstantial evidence. What do you think was the strongest part of the case that convinced the jury this was guilty?
I don't think there's any one thing. I think it was the combined effort of working together with our law enforcement partners, the ME and other professionals. The work that was done on the forensics, I think, was important, but actually without that and without people explaining it in the courtroom, we'd have nothing, and I think they all did an awesome job.
Mike,
And,
Walsh
and
decided
I'm just
to-
going to say one other thing, because somebody mentioned, it's not about winning or losing. It's about getting the right answer. And this was the right answer. And so we don't look at cases as a wins or losses. We look at getting justice for someone. So let's not lose sight of that fact.
Walsh pled
Sir.
guilty to 2 charges ahead of time, right when jury selection was about to start. Did that change the way you approached this case and your attorneys? Obviously, they had been
Well-
looking at 3 different charges. Now it was 1 murder charge. And
You can hear right from the
The case was always going to be presented in the same way. The evidence was the evidence, and we wanted to make sure the jury had everything that they needed to make a determination. The change of plea was an interesting dynamic, but when it came down to it, we wanted to make sure the jury had all the facts.
Greg, what do you think it was? The online searches? Do you think it was the surveillance video? What do you think?
or the emotional testimony to people.
I can't tell you. That would be a question for the jurors. We tried to give them all the information we had. We had it from multiple different factors, whether it be surveillance video, the text messages, the internet searches, but what we had was a very thorough investigation that gave the lawyers in this case an excellent chance to try and give the jury what they needed.
Were you surprised that he didn't testify, and what did you want to ask him on the stand?
I don't know if I
you
can
don't have enough.
comment
You don't
on
have
that.
enough time for that.
I
I
think
can
that
tell
that's
you
probably
that.
better not said.
But were
Right.
you surprised that he didn't?
The judge was.
I think it's always up to the defendant to make that decision. I think it's the hardest decision the defendant can make, and so I'm sure he put a lot of thought into it. We were prepared that if he did testify, we had a number of questions we wanted to have answered, but we understand it's his right not to.
So the question.
Yeah, over the past couple of years, a lot has been made of your office and the handling of different cases. Do you hope what happened here today restores some of that perceived lack of faith the public has?
I don't know. One loss of a high visibility case determines what happens in our office. We handle cases all the way from the bottom to the top, and we treat them all the same. There's no such thing as a single important case. This was a critical case, and you saw on display some of the smartest people and some of the toughest workers and investigators who have always been with me. So I think that sometimes you don't like what a jury has to say, but that's our system of justice. You present a case to a jury, and you have to abide by. At least I do. I took a constitutional oath. So I would just say today, I clearly are much happier with the outcome today, and I'm very happy with the work that was done by the professionals who work both in law enforcement and the district attorney's office, and really, I couldn't be happier.
A
So
lot has been made of you personally, obviously, over the last couple of years. We haven't really had a chance to hear from you. How
Well-
have you been doing, and what does this say today?
Well, the good or bad news is, having been in our office for a number of years in politics, unlike my time on Beacon Hill, I get to speak out. But many of you know that now as a district attorney, that if I speak out, that I interfere with an individual's right to a fair trial, then that obviously weighs heavily upon me. So I am now free to speak today on this trial with some limitations. And so not hearing from me, obviously, then I don't want to tip the jury or tip the scales and let those cases go forward without putting your thumb on the scales of justice. And I took the job to speak for victims, and we focus on victims, and that's what I'm going to continue to do through my tenure. So I just want to thank you all. I know this is a long period of time, and we have to come to the courthouse, and we do have some calls to make and try to reach out to some other family members and some other people. But thank you all, and hopefully it brings to a conclusion a very sad chapter in the history of Anna's family.